Welcome back to Hospitality Reinvented. This is episode number 23 with your host, Doug Radkey, the founder and principal consultant at KRG Hospitality. Today, we are going to challenge one of the most poisonous myths in hospitality, the illusion of hustle. When your doors open, the real work, it's only beginning. Everyone congratulates you, though, surviving the opening. But too many operators celebrate this over long-term sustainability. They begin to wear burnout as a badge, thinking that long nights and grinding those 60 to 80-hour work weeks prove dedication. Now, let me be clear, that is not a badge. That is a warning sign, because the real flex after opening isn't how much you suffer, it's how little you have to suffer. Your time is your greatest luxury. How you use it, that right there, that is the flex. So today we're going to dive into why the myth of hustle even persists in this industry, what the real flex is in terms of clarity and systems and freedom, and finally the mindset and the leadership and the structure that it takes to flip from exhaustion to legacy. Let's get into it first with the myth that kills good businesses. Walk into any new bar, restaurant, or boutique hotel on any Friday night. Odds are that you're going to see the owner maybe behind the bar, or in the kitchen, or checking rooms between switchovers. They'll tell you, with a mixture of maybe both pride and exhaustion, I've been pulling these 70-hour weeks. This is what it takes. That story, you see it everywhere. It's like it's ingrained in this industry, and it's for some reason it's glamorized. But here's the truth. Burning yourself out is not a strategy. It is a trap. It sets a ceiling. It signals that you don't trust systems and teams and processes. It tells your staff that, my energy is the only thing that is holding this all together. In fact, it's the precise wrong mindset for stabilizing and scaling and the build out of a legacy brand. I recently sat down with an operator in a success session, and they told me very matter-of-factly that, quote, I'll just work 70 hours a week for the first year. That'll help me keep my payroll costs down. They believed it was the sacrifice needed during the first year of operations. So we paused, and then I asked, what happens when you break? What happens when you get sick? What happens when your team, starts expecting you in the weeds every single day? They hadn't planned around that, because they believed the grind was the point and what the industry is about, especially during that first year. So I stopped them because, as I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, intention as a consultant matters. But here's what I told them. What you believe will become your long-term architecture. So what is the real flex here after opening? It's managing your business in 40 hours or less, not 80. It's orchestrating people and processes and profit, not being the one trapped in daily execution. It's working on the business, not in the business. If you look at brands that win over time, I'll bet you that their owners don't function as the hardest worker in the room. They're not on the schedule every Friday night, maybe serving tables. They function as the architect of that Friday night. The real flex is creating a business that runs without you being in the trenches. And this is where many people fail. They think structure is boring. Let me push back here a little. Structure liberates creativity. If you can leave at 6 p.m. on a Friday, confident that your team won't implode, guess what? You are winning. If you know your playbooks, anticipate staffing gaps and supply chain, maybe hiccups and margin shifts, guess what? You are winning. If your systems maintain consistency, quality standards, regardless of who's working, you are winning. That's what separates, chaotic operators from legacy operators. Playbooks and systems are the bridge from being busy to being wealthy with your time. And here's what is so important. Systems aren't optional after opening. They are your lifeline. This is what communicates true leadership. And true leadership is energy, it's presence, and it's tone. It's how you show up when everything else might be burning. If your energy screams burnout, your team will absorb all of that. They will become anxious and reactive and burnt out themselves. If your energy communicates calm and clarity and boundaries, they'll rise to the occasion. They'll take ownership and they will deliver. Leadership isn't about being the busiest. It's about being the clearest. One of my, favorite lines when talking about this with clients is this: time is not a substitute for strategy. Sweat is not a replacement for systems. Work doesn't equal worth. What does is discipline, alignment, and intention. All right, now let's get practical for a moment here. Suppose you decide to work the weekend, grind yourself to save on payroll. That saving is going to be a lie, unfortunately for you. You trade time, which is your most limited resource. And while you are buried down in this execution, you're not refining the guest experience and building marketing channels and managing the financials, or you maybe are not out there and, networking. You're saving pennies and losing thousands of dollars of opportunity. A lean operator is someone who can step away for a week from maybe a vacation to a family emergency and still trust that their business is going to perform. Now, repeat after me. This is a real flex. Now, imagine this transformation with me here. You leave your property at 6 p.m. The shifts, they run smoothly. The team knows the cadence, the standards, and the expectations. You are free to design growth strategy, not firefight. You can invest in rest and family and creativity all without any level of guilt. You run a business that scales, not one that just survives off of your sacrifice. That's not fantasy. That is a possible reality. And this shift begins in your head. You need to reject the fallacy that long hours are noble, that you really need to embrace that clarity, not hustle in your highest leverage. You need to accept that leadership means saying no to chaos. You need to be willing to build your foundation before pushing for growth. You need to understand that your business has seasons, but the core must always remain consistent. You won't break the cycle overnight, but you can dismantle it intentionally. So as always on these podcasts, here is a challenge for you. In the next week, pick one operational control that you don't currently have and then codify it. Maybe it's inventory audits, shift handoffs, vendor protocols, service standards, whatever it is. Build it and then test it. And then the next month, pick another and start to really build some momentum here. Slowly, these systems are going to become muscle memory free. Clarity will become the culture here. Hustle will give way to strategy. That is how you make this flex a reality. I know this topic, it can hit hard because many of you are living it or trying to justify it or dreaming of breaking free from it. But I want you to hear this. Your business deserves more and you deserve more. Stop wearing burnout as a badge. Stop mistaking hours for impact and stop letting your business be a job with worse hours and higher stress. The real flex after opening isn't telling the world how many hours you have worked. It's showing the world how little you have to work because your systems and your team and your strategy are doing the heavy lifting for you. If you are here to build a life, not just another concept, then build with clarity. Start building for freedom and build that legacy. Thank you for listening to Hospitality Reinvented. Until next time, stay bold, stay strategic, and let's keep reinventing hospitality together.